What is up, everyone? JD here. I hope you're doing well today. We're going to be doing the disassembly for the Vosteed Psyop. Let's get into it. All right, guys, this one here looks like it is going to be pretty straightforward. It looks like it's a 3-screw construction. And before we jump too far ahead, let me grab my skiff bearings and skiff bearing tools so we can have that ready to go as well. Let's go ahead and start with the disassembly. I use Weehaw bits, guys. I do recommend them. I also have very affordable and a couple of nicely priced drivers down in the description, so make sure you guys use those links to grab those things. This does have their version of the compression lock. They are simply calling it the top liner lock. So let's go ahead and get it started here with the disassembly. Really enjoying this one so far. This is my first time taking it down. Just making sure the other side's not spinning. Loctite, Loctite, lots of Loctite. Now, all of these have been constructed a little bit differently. Titanium hardware, lots of Loctite in there. So I'm very curious to see how this one is assembled. I felt the other side moving just a little bit, but man, they put a ton of thread locker on this one here. But I can't wait to get in here and see how this one's constructed, because it seems like each one, that was very loose, each one has been done a little bit differently. That anodized pivot is really pretty. It looks very nice. We'll clean all of that up here shortly. Just make sure. Okay, very nice. So it's just an onlay scale, and it looks like it is cut out for the top liner lock. You have your bolts here for the pocket clip itself. Very nice construction. The scale is very lightweight itself, so it doesn't look like anything other than the button screw is here holding it in, so it should pop out fairly easy, I hope. It is stuck to that pin a little bit right there. Okay, that's not bad. Oh, this is interesting. So it's got the liner, but the lock itself is separate from the liner, and you can see how that compression works there. So let's go ahead. I want to go ahead and pull it all apart so I can clean it up very nicely, but it lays on top of that, and that's why those screws are Loctited in, because that is what's causing the liner to pop out. So it's a two-piece construction. That's different from what they've done with the other ones here. Very, very interesting. Let me move this up a little bit here. I just realized I'm a little low. Hopefully you guys didn't miss anything. And it looks like they're now using grease instead of oil. So, oh, there we go. Stop pin popped out there. I'm just going to drop that back in here to make this a little bit easier to reassemble. And I felt that pin moving. So let's go ahead. Let's clean up everything really quick. I do want to measure, but I want to go ahead and get everything cleaned up. I'm going to clean the detent ball and lock up interface to make sure that there's no oil there. I wonder if that is why they've moved to grease, to get rid of any potential grittiness on the lock itself. I pretty much have my own system nailed down, so I don't really think that's going to be an issue. The bearings do ride directly on the washer, the liner rather, sorry. So that is something to keep in mind, that it doesn't have a washer. And let me see here. Let me grab something that I can use to clean inside of there. A little dirty, not awful. And inside of there. And then I did grab one of my circuit board cleaning Q-tip, guys. These are down in the description as well if you want these. They're really great for cleaning out the detent ball hole. You can see a little dirty in there, so I'm just going to clean it a little bit more. Try to get that as clean and grit free as possible. That's just going to keep your detent feeling good. And I'm going to go ahead. Oh, well, the pivot doesn't want to come out. I'm going to go ahead. There we go. Very tight tolerances. Clean this side out. Now this is interesting. The pockets, no, they look the same. The pockets look the same. Clean this up as well. And let's go ahead and take a measurement and see what we got here. It looks like 6mm bearings again, but it doesn't look like it'll be the multi-row, but we'll check them. Yep, so we are dealing with 100% 6mm pivot, and bearings are 1/16. They look smaller, but they're not. So 6mm 1/16. Let me pull out those skiffs so that we can install them today. All right, I'm just going to check real quick just to see if the multi-row bearings fit. If not, we're just going to put the standard ones in today. But I wanted to answer the question. No, there's no way. Nope, no way. These are not fitting. Not fitting, guys. So that is your answer to your question. It kind of looked like it, but I just wanted to put it on screen to verify that. So 6mm. Let's do that. Oh, that goes on the back. Sorry. So we need a set of 6mm 1/16. I'm getting kind of low on these. I don't use them too often though. But if Vosteed is moving away to, I'll use these because these were on something else. If they're moving to 6mm, I'll probably order like 2 or 3 more just to keep on hand, especially because they are just absolutely killing the design. All right, let's go ahead and get the lube ready to go. You guys have seen I've changed my approach here for putting lube on. I just kind of wipe it, like instead of on a cloth, I'm just wiping it like a light coating on everything for the reassembly. This just keeps it from leaking, getting onto the lock interface, leaking out of the pivot, while still giving it enough lube, facing forward, to keep the action nice and fluid, feeling really good. Let me go ahead and wipe these down as well. And I like skiffs because they do have a higher ball count. There's more surface for it to ride along, so it makes it easier work. You can tighten them down a little bit more, and that'll allow it to be a little bit more secure in the pivot, so you don't have any side-to-side play, and the action should be really good on these too. So I might have gone too light. Let me see here. Might have gone too light with the oil. Let's see here. I might actually need to put it directly on these. So I will have to, these are so tightly fit that I actually had to kind of put it directly on the ball and work it in. Hopefully it should be good to go. So the other thing too that I will do here as well that's a little bit different is I will go ahead and put a drip or a dot on my finger, and then what I do is just touch the detent ball on it, and then I just make sure and wipe all the excess off that might have gotten on there directly onto the finger, and then just go behind it with the cloth and kind of do the same thing. And then that way I make sure that I have just the one coating directly on the lock bar interface, and I don't have to worry about whether or not it's going to be on that track or if it's going to get into the lock interface. So we'll do the same thing here. And really I'm having an issue. I hadn't been using my index finger because I had that cut on there, but I think it's almost healed. And I'm just going to make sure that I got just a very light coating on there. It probably looks like it's almost not worth the effort, but just working that in helps to make sure that I don't have to worry about it leaking out. So we're going to line this back up, make sure that we get all of that in place. Yeah, all right, so that feels good. Now we'll put the other part on top, the secondary liner, or the full fixed liner. I don't know what they're going to be calling that. And then I'm not going to mess with any of the lube there just because it does have you know, it is sitting on the steel, so I think that probably just helps keep it from sticking when you go to pull it apart. Just going to wipe a little down here as well, and that's just personal preference, not necessary. I don't think it'll stick. It's just overly precautious, I guess. Precautious. All right, let's start with the pivot screw. That was in there pretty light, so I'm going to put it in the same amount of lightness. Okay. And then these guys, these were in here pretty tight, guys. So let me do this first. I'm just going to make sure that these are tight on, yeah, that one's really tight on this side, just so that I don't have an issue where I need to worry about is it going to spin on me. I can just go ahead and install them, tighten them down, and know I'll be good to go. All right, so I went probably a little bit more aggressive with these, knowing that they are the bolts that make this compression lock system work. But just be careful, because they didn't magnetize, so I'm thinking that they are titanium, and I just want to be careful with that. Whoa, that dropped. So I am centered, no side-to-side play, no lock stick. Yep, that's everything. So there is the disassembly and skiff install for your Vosteed Psyop. Thanks for watching to this point of the video. I really appreciate it. It helps the algorithm. So does watching another video. All of that helps the algorithm. If you enjoyed, leave a like, comment down below, and let me know what you think about the Psyop. Did the disassembly help you? Are you considering getting it, or do you have a different version of the top liner lock knife? The Vosteed Raccoon and the Vosteed Hedgehog both have this lock on them, and I just really love that manufacturers, especially Vosteed, who's making really great designs, are doing these. I appreciate you staying until the end. A special thank you to those channel members. That really helps the channel tremendously. I love you all. I hope you have a fantastic week. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.